Okay, strength versus concentration. This is either being like Mr. Kurtz, really strong, or being able to think really well, like Mr. Manor and me.
No, that actually has nothing to do with acids and bases.
Oh.
It actually has to do with how the ions, how much of them and how dissociated they are in solution. So these are just some definitions. Let's get some definitions down. Strength.
So how easily something is ionized for an acid or dissociated for a base.
I remember those terms. They're it means the molecules are split apart into their ions,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So we're talking about how easily something strong would be mostly ions.
So those are the ones, strong ones are split apart.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. And then weak ones are going to be mostly compounds.
So they don't split apart into their ions.
That's correct.
So an acid or a base, they can be strong, split apart, or weak, held together.
All right.
All right.
So example acid HA.
So these are just generic formulas for an acid or a base because you've got some acid, which is the hydrogen, and then something attached to it. The base is a hydroxide with something attached to it. So we just said HA and BOH.
Okay, so HA, we're going to take a look at that, what that would look like if it was a strong acid, for example.
Since it's strong, we know that they're going to be split apart into their ions. So the H and the A, which is a negative anion, they're going to separate. And that's all strong means. If it's strong, it means the molecules are separated.
Yeah, so pretty much all of them will be separated.
But they don't all have to be. There can still be some that are connected together without a charge. But most of them, if not all of them, are separated. That's what strong means. What about weak then?
So weak, yeah, let's take a look at the base for weak.
Let's make this one a weak base.
So weak base. Man, that base is so weak. So you can see most of well, yeah, all right. Most of them are still together, but just like the strong acid, maybe one of them, one molecule that's in there, or should I say one compound to be a little bit better about it, or two will be split apart, but most of the bases are going to stay together as the hydroxide bonded up with the cation.
All right, there we go. Two easy definitions, strength and concentration. Let's take a look at the other ones now. Concentration has nothing to do with strength. Remember, strength is just split apart or together.
The reason we do these in the podcast is because they're pretty commonly confused with each other, but they really don't have a whole lot to do with each other.
Not at all.
You've heard the term concentrated and dilute before, and it pretty much means the same thing here as what you have heard before. It's how much there is.
How much there is. Whether or not they're connected or not, if something is concentrated, there's a lot of them in the solution. And if it's dilute, there's only a few of them in solution. It's just a visual thing.
Yeah,
how much is there?
That's pretty much all there is to whether it is concentrated or whether it is a dilute acid or a base.
But when we're talking about solutions, we need to consider both of those terms, and we need to keep them separated. So we have practice here. I want to show on a molecular level what a concentrated weak base looks like.
Okay, so let's break this down. The term concentrated means that there is going to be a lot of base compound or base molecules.
And weak means that they're going to be not broken apart. They're going to be compounds.
Yeah, so they're going to be bonded together still.
Let's pretend that my base, again, is just the generic BOH. B stands for something that's attached to the hydroxide, which is a base. Concentrated, so I'm going to fill this beaker up. I need a lot of base molecules in here.
So remember, this is always in water. So we're putting a lot of these base molecules into water. It's not like these base molecules are just getting in there separately.
Well, I'm going to separate one of them just because some of them can be separated.
Yes.
But most of them are together, and it's concentrated. So there's a ton of them that are connected together. Bunch of BOHs. Contrast that with a dilute strong acid. Dilute meaning?
Dilute meaning not a lot. So
we'll say a few.
A few.
And strong.
And then, strong meaning they're going to be mostly ionized or dissociated. Most of the compounds that come in contact with the water.
So our acid, we will say HA is our acid, the hydrogen attached to something else.
Just a couple. Just a couple.
Not many. There's a few of them. That's a minus sign.
Yeah, like an A minus, like in math class. It's hard to get an A plus in that class.
And I think that's good. There's just a few of them, but they're strong, so they separate.
Perfect.
All right.
Those are good drawings.